This is Future Talk.
Future Talk.
Future Talk with Omnia Saleh and Hani Balkis.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. Hope you're all having a blessed afternoon and excited to find out the latest in what is happening in the tech world, in the UAE, and around the world. It is one happy Tuesday right here in the Pulse 95 studio as we kind of reflect on our Amazon purchases. I'm sure Hani must have done a couple.
No, believe it or not, I didn't find anything. Yeah,
worthy?
I didn't find anything worthy. I think I'm growing up. Because I tried to look for something.
I think you're just being more budget conscious.
I don't even think it was that. I just didn't see anything appealing to me. Mm-hmm. You know, I was like, I have that already. You know what? I do want something, so I will be looking at that.
I spoke too soon. But let us know if you've made any dangerous purchases this Amazon Prime Day. Our text lines are open for 215 Dur Itisalat or slide into our DMs at Pulse 95 Radio. We want to create like a conversation of probably some of the most interesting purchases that we've done on such days. But enough with purchases and spending money. Let's talk a little bit about vaccine passports because we're going to be discussing Germany rolling out a very unique digital certificate that I'm sure is going to be making travel a lot easier for so many people.
Yes, and we're also talking about SpaceX and how they're launching a U.S. military satellite with a reusable rocket. Now, SpaceX, we do know they want to keep those rockets for themselves. They don't want to waste it and at the same time save the environment and reduce space debris.
Yes, indeed. Coming up on today's show, if you have not received your Emirates ID just yet or are currently working on renewing it, we're going to tell you a very easy and quick manner where you can do it with a single tap. No need to visit any government entities physically.
Yes, and also, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about a flying ferry and how Regent's electric sea glider could revolutionize the commute between people or even the commute between Abu Dhabi and Dubai.
Yes, indeed. Coming up on today's show, lots is happening in the world of apps as well. We're going to be talking about Facebook competing with Clubhouse. But could this become the brand new Clubhouse right here in the UAE since the original Clubhouse does not function anymore? Lots and lots is in store on today's show. So keep Pulse 95 locked and we'll be right back.
Daily digital news. Bits and bytes connect our world.
Germany has rolled out a vaccine passport and already more than 22 million people have received that digital certificate. Now, more than 22 million people have acquired that vaccine passport in Germany in only the first 10 days after that plan was launched. Now, it is called the Cove Pass app and allows Germans to use their smartphones to show that they have been vaccinated against COVID-19. Now, we're looking at how Germany is just picking up on this, right? But right here in the UAE, we've had that for a while now. We have
Yes.
I think August of 2020.
Are we talking about ever since Al Husn app?
Yeah, August of 2020.
I think August of 2020, because I was also thinking of that partnership that IATA, I think, were doing with one of the flights or airline companies. So there are so many ways where you can actually showcase that you've been vaccinated or you've received a PCR test on any application. And the UAE is definitely one leading example with Al Husn application. But I'm wondering when we're going to have one app that works everywhere, if that makes sense. So internationally, I can pull up this application and showcase that I've been vaccinated and what type of vaccine did I get, when did I get my first dose, when did I get my second dose. I think that would be when travel would be life-changed.
Yeah, I mean, already 26 million people have fully been vaccinated in Germany, accounting for just 31% of its population, and a little over half have received at least the first dose. Now, announcing the uptake for the Cove Pass app, the health minister did say that Germany's vaccination program has remained high. Now, we do know that the easier or the quicker people do get vaccinated, we will see life come back to normal. Normality will come easier. Now, right now, thankfully, right here in the UAE, a big majority of us are vaccinated. Now, I don't know anyone who is still not vaccinated yet, believe it or not. And I know a lot of people. And I mean, just think about it like this. I haven't gotten sick, all right? Knock on wood. I haven't gotten sick since COVID happened. No, you know what? After my surgery, but after, let's say, July, right? I haven't got sick ever since then. And I do believe it's because, number one, we're wearing masks, and number two, we are washing our hands more than we usually
aware.
did.
Yeah.
More hand sanitizers. And not only that, I mean, I got the vaccine, so I'm on double protection now.
True.
So again, I do feel like life is going back to normal. And I feel like all around the world, eventually, we will all need to get vaccinated. Now, we do know that there is that COVAX campaign where poor countries are getting the vaccines, and especially when it does come to those poor countries. And we're looking at, I do believe, by 2022,
Hopefully.
2023, life should get back to normal. And
I can't believe back in 2020, we're like, oh, the minute New Year hits, that's it. COVID will be over.
You know, Omnia, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
You mentioned that, you know, because when the COVID-19 pandemic first started, when they speculated that it would go to 2023, 2024, everyone was like, nah.
Yeah, no way.
Nah,
What do you
too
mean?
much. But now we're looking at, this is the only plausible and logical time frame, because still our numbers aren't that high.
But they're still there. There's still
1,800.
patients, yeah.
You know, and our mortality rate is still not, I mean, I do believe that as of now, unfortunately, but 180 people have passed away because of COVID-19 right here in the UAE. I think.
But that's a pretty low number when you take into consideration other countries.
Yes, and why is that, Omnia? Because number one, vaccinations, right? Vaccinations. Now, a lot of people got the vaccine. A lot of people got corona.
True.
Right? But because you have the vaccine already in your body,
You won't get as bad of symptoms.
Exactly. You might just have a loss of taste. You might have a little bit of a small cough, right? So again, vaccination is the key to, number one, protect yourself, and number two, to get life back to normal.
True. And now that we've seen the Delta variant actually rise, we do have to be a little bit more cautious whenever we feel symptoms. So any little symptom, I would suggest people go and get a PCR, because you just never know. You never know what could be a COVID symptom nowadays and what could not be. Especially with the Delta variant, things can be a little bit messy when we're looking at the differences and the lines between them. Let us know your thoughts. Text in at 4215 to rate us a lot, or slide into our DMs at Pulse 95 Radio. Are you also waiting for that international application where wherever you travel, you just have to show it up and showcase that you have received the COVID vaccine on it?
We're talking about the international application. I don't think there will be one, but countries will acknowledge
Trust
each other.
yeah.
Right? You know, like let's say, for example, Cove Pass for Germany, right? And then Husn for the UAE.
True.
And they'll have kind of like a memorandum of understanding.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, okay,
if I see this, I'll trust.
I'll recognize it, and you'll recognize my app.
Yeah.
Salaam alaikum, alaikum salam.
I was thinking exactly of that because, you know, looking at a lot of Arab countries, what they do is they give you physical certificates. And right here in the UAE, we don't have something like that, unless you're talking about the vaccination card.
Yeah, but you're talking about, what I know when it does come to travel, you just show Al Husn app for leaving.
Right?
For leaving. So the thing is, when we're talking about travel, Omnia, right? So the thing is that you have to have the app for the country you're departing from. Correct? If you're leaving Al Husn, if you're leaving UAE and you have Al Husn, automatically, let's say you're going to the United States, right?
True.
To get on the plane anyways, you needed to have that PCR test or whatever. And the country that is accepting you will already put trust in the country you're coming from.
Exactly.
So it says, okay, all right, just let them in, right? You'll have that PCR test and you're good to go. But some other countries, you do know, we have that 14-day quarantine, 7-day quarantine. It differs. Every government does their own thing, which they do deem is best. But again, because my family is traveling, I do believe in about a week. Yeah. Right? And the only thing that was required for them was a PCR test and the Husn app.
Oh,
yes, that's
fantastic. There you go. New information every day whenever we talk about travel. Coming up on today's show, we're going to be talking about a reusable rocket. Is this going to make space travel become a little bit more sustainable? Keep us 95 locked. We'll be right back.
Daily digital news. Bits and bytes connect our world.
Have you ever wondered what happens to rockets after they're launched? After they go to outer space and they do the mission that they have to do, what happens to them then? Do they just fill up outer space? In many cases, sadly, they do. And this is exactly why we struggle with space debris. And this is exactly why a lot of organizations have actually been created and committees have been done to make sure that countries actually are aware of space debris and take that into consideration whenever they want to go ahead and launch a new space mission. But SpaceX has decided to basically take another route with using rockets because they have put a U.S. military satellite into orbit by using a reusable rocket in a first of its kind. And this is going to be a very close collaboration happening between Elon Musk's commercial space company and the Pentagon.
Yes, now this is not the first time we've seen a reusable rocket coming out of SpaceX. I do believe that one time a rocket went to space and came back down. And we're looking at one of the company's Falcon 9 rockets. And now it took off from a launch pad at the U.S. Space Force Station in Cape Canaveral, carrying a Lockheed Martin-built navigation satellite. Now, for those who don't know, Lockheed, that is the top of its line when it does come to military equipment. So those military, the U.S. Army or the U.S. military trusted Elon Musk so much that they're giving them top equipment. Now, the Falcon 9 rockets have flown and landed successfully 66 times in a row since 2017, but Thursday's launch was the first time that U.S. military officials entrusted the company's reusable rocket with a national security mission. That is very big for a government, for a U.S. military, armed forces, to trust a private company with their equipment. And nonetheless, it is very expensive in sending it all the way to space.
Exactly. But the beauty of reusable rockets, not only are they sustainable for the environment, but they're also sustainable to our pockets because they help reduce the cost of a lot of space missions. Now, the Falcon 9 is only partially reusable, so we need to be a bit more realistic when we're talking about how reusable is this rocket. The main engine stage is designed usually to land on an autonomous ship so that it can go ahead and fly again, and this is how they go ahead and reuse it time after time. They actually nicknamed this space mission after Neil Armstrong, and the GPS satellite which flew into space on Thursday was actually part of the latest generation of navigation satellites that were designed and built by Lockheed Martin.
Yes, now, this obviously does come after years of planning. Now, military officials did clear SpaceX to carry military payloads like satellites using those reusable rockets, which will allow the Space Force to reduce the cost of its missions. And again, I'm looking at how this will be very beneficial for the environment, number one, and number two, ladies and gentlemen, for space. Now, I mean, I have talked about space debris before.
Yeah.
It is a big issue. I mean, what goes up must come down. And either they come down in the ocean or they stay floating in space until they come back down. Let us know your guys' thoughts, 4215 Durslat, or on our Instagram at Pulse95 Radio. What do you think about this story? Are you excited to see that maybe one day we'll see a spaceship go all the way to space and come back down and land vertically onto that space pad?
How do you tech? How do you tech?
Well, there's a problem.
What's
right?
your problem?
A lot of people haven't been getting their Emirates ID, right? But obviously, with every problem, the UAE always has a solution. And we're talking about Emirates ID. And if you haven't received it, we're going to be telling you what to do. Now, some UAE residents have renewed their Emirates ID, but yet received them.
Have not received them.
Huh?
They have not received them
Yeah,
yet.
they haven't received them yet. Now, this is because the UAE's Federal Authority for Identity and Citizenship is in the process of issuing the new and advanced version of that Emirates ID. Now, we do know that the Emirates ID is a mandatory document to access all government and even some private services. And a lot of residents are worried, me being one of them, as I have an expired ID right now, and mine isn't being in the process of renewal. But if you are one of them, just like me, there is nothing to worry about. All you need to do is download the Ica UAE Smart app, and we're going to be telling you some simple steps.
Yes, indeed. So the ICA has actually explained to us before that anyone who applied for a new Emirates ID can continue to follow up with that service, but using the electronic version of that ID until the physical ones are printed and dispatched. This makes life so much easier because let's say you need that document for buying anything or confirming that this is your identity. and you don't have the physical copy, you can always just pull it out from that application.
I'm downloading it right now, by the way.
Oh, you haven't downloaded it yet?
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, Omni, when you told me about the story, this was actually the first time I heard about it.
Really?
Yes, I'm ashamed of myself.
No, that's okay. A lot of people have actually not heard about it. And that's because it's been actually pretty new that they've launched it. So the app is called the Ica Uae App. And the e-version of your Emirates ID could be used for any and every government service until you have your physical one in hand. So what you got to do is very simple. So first off, you will download the app. It's called Ica Uae. It's found on the Play Store and Google's Apple Store. Then you'll go and log into the ICA website if you don't have the app downloaded. Then you can go ahead and use your UAE Pass username and password or your personal account details. So if you have an app called the UAE Pass, it's usually used for all governmental services, basically. You can actually log into the ICA app using the same login information. If you don't, then you can either create a new account or I think use your Emirates ID username and password. After you do that, you'll go ahead and find the Emirates ID option. You'll apply for Emirates ID renewal and then you'll receive a notification. Once you log into the system and click on personal wallet, you can simply choose your ID, press the QR code, and you'll get the electronic version of your Emirates ID.
I mean,
so simple.
So simple, and a lot of people need this, right? Not only for accessing government entities, but as well as private services.
True.
Now, right here in the UAE, without your ID, you are literally lost. You have no identification.
You're no one.
You are no one. You need it. It is a mandatory thing. But the new design for the Emirati passport and Emirates IDs were actually first announced in last November of last year. And again, the new identity documents will actually feature additional visual and electronic security features to actually combat identity fraud and to strengthen national and international confidence in travel documents. So we're looking at the backtrack of some IDs because obviously they want to make the experience better for us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, since we can't actually have the ID yet, we have the next best thing, which is that digital ID. And I just downloaded it right now. And I'm going to be signing up in just a bit during the break.
Okay.
And I'm really excited because I want to see how
it
that
looks
will,
like?
because again, it's in process. Will it be updated or not? I want to know what's going on. So I'm excited.
In your case, you'll get exactly what your new one would look like, but just an e-version of it. So it will be valid whatever it is that you need to use it. Let's say, God forbid, you got a fine, you have any form of personal identification, this would be valid. For sure, for any government service, it's valid, and I'm sure the same applies for any private service as well. Let us know your thoughts. Have you downloaded it, and have you seen what your Emirates ID e-version looks like? Share with us your thoughts at 4215. Do it to Salat or slide into our DMs at Pulse 95 Radio. But keep Pulse 95 locked because coming up, we still have lots in store on today's show as we talk about flying ferries that could possibly be the future of transportation between the different Emirates right here in the UAE.
Check this out. Check this out. Pulse 95.
How many times do you wake up for work, you're half asleep, you still can't wake up, this is like your third, fourth cup of coffee, and you can't even begin to imagine having to step into your car and drive yourself to work. Like, it's hard enough going to work, let alone having to deal with the commute to it and the commute back home. But what if we told you could simply take a flying ferry pretty soon? No driving, no cars. Someone drives for you and you're basically flying over every form of traffic.
And it's electric.
Ooh.
Yes.
More sustainable.
Yeah, we're talking about a Boston startup and how it's developing an electric-powered vehicle with a top speed of 290 kilometers per hour. Now, we do know that commuters right here in the UAE have long wished for a flying car or even Hyperloop to get from home to office. But what about a flying ferry? And that's what we're talking about today, ladies and gentlemen. Now, that startup is called Regent and is developing an electric-powered sea glider to connect coastal cities, dusting off, let me tell you, that Tesla generation and creating a new mode of transport in the process. Now, we're looking at how ferries were very popular during the Cold War.
Yeah.
Right? But now they are coming back to life in 2021.
Yes, indeed. And this ferry has a very interesting design because it comes in between a boat and a glider. So it looks something similar to both. And it actually has a lot of competitors when we're talking about yachts because it has that design of a yacht, but at the same time, it's a flying yacht. It's interesting to mention, but the design is beautiful and it basically operates in the sky. It flies a few meters above the water surface and it has the high speed of an airplane, but at the same time, the low operating cost of a boat, which means this could be very budget friendly for people who just want to use it to commute to work, to go between cities, or right here in the UAE, to go between Emirates. Now, once the ferry actually motors out of the harbor on a hydrofoil, the sea glider takes off at a low speed using the water as a runway. Then it flies over the waves at a top speed of 290 kilometers per hour. So it first starts on a boat, and then that boat takes off.
Yeah.
And it remains over water, which to be honest, to me, it gives me a lot of peace because I'm sure you've probably heard this as well. If a plane, let's say, crashes in sea, it's a lot safer than crashing in land. You have a higher chance of survival. So
yeah.
if anything,
water can be softer than land.
Yeah, if worst comes to worst, at least I know I might survive.
Yes, now, obviously, this is a point where they want to connect major hubs, major cities, such as Dubai to Abu Dhabi, New York to Washington, D.C., or even the UK to France. Now, that company also does aim to address the growing demand for travel that is more environmentally friendly. Now, we do know that global transport emissions have increased by less than 0.5% in 2019, down from 1.9% since 2000. And that is obviously because electric vehicles, solar vehicles, we're looking at new means of transportation. And a lot of countries and a lot of governments worldwide don't want to depend on gas and oil too much. We want to go to the electric, solar-powered vehicles, or maybe even electricity as well. Now, I'm looking at how this could be a very, very nice thing, but I don't think it will be your daily commuter. Obviously, it will be expensive because I'm looking at the pictures of this ferry, this flying ferry. I'm saying it only could probably get around 6 people.
Actually, it holds a lot more passengers than you'd think.
How many?
When we're looking at the research that has been done on it, they say that it holds a lot more passenger than a typical yacht would.
Oof.
It can fit into existing harbor infrastructure. So, like with, let's say, the Skyway, the Sky Pods, the Sky Rail, the Hyperloop, you have to create new infrastructure for it,
Yeah, you got water. It's already there.
That's what takes more time. But with this, you've got the water, you've got the harbors. It will basically leave just like a yacht or any boat would. Also, if there are any unknowns, it can actually deal with them a lot more easily because, again, it has that safety net with the water and the safety net because it launches from, from the yacht itself. People are imagining that in 2025, we would have about 100 docks of those sea gliders. But an exact number of how many people haven't said yet, but they would say as much as would fit into a yacht.
All right, so it's saying that it could result in 50 to 150 passengers capacity.
Whoa.
And that is sailing between the UK and France by 2028.
Can you imagine that?
But they look so small in the pictures.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't think they fit like a 50 or 100, but
not even 100, 150.
Oh my God.
150. That's a lot. I don't know, man.
And it's fast. It really looks like it flies like a plane.
And glides like a glider.
Yeah.
And is on the water. Like a jet ski. Looks pretty cool.
Rapping now.
Right? I mean, I like it. I would probably jump into one, yes.
Would you ride one?
Yeah, I would ride one.
I would ride one.
I mean,
if I could.
It'd be pretty cool, but I'm 100% sure it's expensive.
Have you seen the video that they've launched?
Yeah, I mean,
it's beautiful. I mean, it's like the child of a ship in a plane.
Yeah, I mean, again, but I'm sure it's expensive. I mean, cost efficient is what I'm trying to look for right now.
They say it is, but I don't know how cost. Let's put things into perspective. Cost efficient.
The Skyway, when we talk about the Hyperloop, those were supposed to kill the train system.
Yeah.
These are the quicker, the cheaper, the faster.
Yeah.
Right. again, you don't want to go to a better transport per se when it does come to sustainability, to quickness, but pay a lot. You know,
True. No one's gonna use it.
yeah, no, some people will use it, but
Yeah.
again, when we're looking at public transportation per se, it is mostly aimed at the less earning people,
True.
right? I mean, because if you're earning a lot, obviously you have a car, and that's why buses. I'm not gonna go into the economics about it, but ladies and gentlemen, let's know your guys' thoughts. 4215 do our thoughts or on our Instagram at Pulse95 Radio. Would you jump into a flying ferry to be your daily commuter?
Pulse 95.
Apps all around.
What's worth a click and download?
So I'm gonna give you a demo of what happens in the Facebook marketing offices when there's a meeting, right? So
You work there and we don't know.
all these board of directors, they gather up, right?
Yeah.
These marketing specialists, these marketing managers, like, listen, we need to reel in more customers. We need to make people inclined to use Facebook, right? And my team and I, not me, I'm speaking as if I'm a marketing manager.
We have the new Facebook employee, Hannibal Qiz.
It's an act. I'm
Yeah.
giving you guys a play.
Manager, may I
Right?
say? Yeah.
I have an idea, right? Me and my team, we've set it up, and this is basically what we're going to be doing, right? Copy and paste. Copy and paste what?
From who?
Exactly. That's the thing. We copy and paste anything we see. And that's what they're doing. They're literally copying and pasting
Oh.
Clubhouse. Now, for those who don't know, Clubhouse made a very, very, very big ruckus back, I think, about 2 months ago when it first launched. Everyone and their mama was on that app, even though it was invite only. And now Facebook does want to launch a Clubhouse-like live audio room and even podcast. So we're looking at, again, how Facebook just says, you know what, I like this idea. Select all, Control A, Control C, Control V, brand it Facebook. Salamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam.
That is literally what is happening. Any feature you may find on Twitter, Instagram, I mean, Instagram is Facebook's sister, but still, they'll copy and paste anything and everything. Now, them rolling out a potential Clubhouse, I don't feel like it's going to bring them any new customers. None at all. Simply because it's Facebook. You know, if it was Instagram, I mean, Instagram tried, and did they try? No, they had the live already.
They did it, but
They didn't have anything with just audio. But Twitter tried, and
Twitter is okay, right?
Spaces is fun, but it's not making a loud noise
No,
like Clubhouse did.
But you know, Omnia, right? Again, Facebook has a very bad reputation. Not Facebook. Well, Facebook does have a bad reputation, but the people who use Facebook have a very bad reputation,
Okay.
right? Again, I'm not saying everyone, but again, I'm talking about most of the people in
99.9%.
America, right?
Okay.
People in America who use Facebook have a very bad reputation. Number one, uninformed, and number two, very gullible, right? And number three, with their controversy, conspiracy theory ideologies,
I feel like it's just an essays
right?
social media platform.
So-
People there just type out essays.
Imagine you're having a debate with two people who think crazy aliens and they're going crazy conspiracy theories and stuff. I mean, I don't feel like this is educational. You know, Clubhouse was supposed to be for the intellectual.
It wasn't, honestly.
In the beginning it was, and then 18-year-olds started to know how to use it, right?
They got invites. That was the issue.
That was the thing. And then it became more of a social, literally, a Clubhouse.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think that any intellectual will use Facebook because, again, we're looking at a demographic, right? The demographic of Facebook users are unfortunately
the older generation.
the older generation.
Yeah.
Not saying the older are not.
No, there are so many intellectuals
Yes.
in the older generation. But
But again, when it does come to the reputation of Facebook, a lot of people think that people who use Facebook are uneducated.
now, when we're looking at the statistics actually released by different, I was looking up some statistics on who uses Facebook. You know, like let's get a percentage.
Your great aunt.
We all know that moms, aunts,
Not even-
grandmas.
my mom doesn't even use Facebook anymore.
My mom, you know what my mom always complains about? She's like, I hate how people on Facebook, speaking like Arab countries,
Yes.
when someone comments, you have to reply back. Like
Yeah.
if some woman says Mabruk, if you don't say Allah barik fiki, the
Yeah.
next time she sees you, Hani. there's gonna be some grudge, there's gonna be some beef between you two. Like, how come you didn't reply back?
I mean, Facebook is a very, very, very complex world.
It is.
Right? In the beginning, it was for the younger generation. The younger generation, us, grew up. We
Yeah.
jumped on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok.
You know how much of the younger generation uses Facebook?
Can I guess?
Guess.
All right. I'm going to speak in percentage.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 6%.
A little bit more, but you're so close. 9.
Not
That's it.
9%.
That's
out of
women. That's women between the ages of 18 and 24. For males, it's even lower. For males, it's 9 collectively, but for males, it's only between the ages of 25 and 34. So you don't have any male younger than 25 average using it.
I mean, again,
You deactivated at 24.
I left. I was like, I don't need you. I deactivated at 21.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
True.
I don't need it.
I'm out of here.
Right? I don't need it. Facebook, again, for the younger generation, it died back in 2011, 2012.
Yes.
Right? But again, Facebook does need to keep a quota. They need to gather new customers, new consumers, new users. And they're trying to do that copy and paste with Clubhouse. Now we've seen them do it a lot with stories. I'm laughing because you got Instagram stories, Facebook stories, WhatsApp stories, right? Hammam stories. Everywhere is a story. Where do we put the fine line in saying, Facebook, you are a multi-billion-dollar company. Pay me money? I will come into your board of directors room and I will give you a new idea. Just stop copy and pasting.
No, they're trying to be unique. You know how they're trying to be unique? By them actually allowing users to invite one another without a verified badge. So you can speak on a Facebook Clubhouse without a verified badge. There you go.
More
misinformation.
What gave them false hope and false motivation is that they did it once and they think every time it's gonna work.
Yeah.
And the Arabic saying is بيفكروا كل يوم عيد. And how did that happen? Why did they think that it's going to work every time? Back when Snapchat released their stories,
and Instagram
was
copied.
like, oh boy, let me get some of that. And they copied it and pasted it onto Instagram. And everyone left Snapchat.
Yeah. It was sad though.
And it made a lot of people start to use Instagram. And they're like, we don't need to use our brains anymore.
Let's try it again.
Everyone do it and we'll just copy and paste. But again, when was the last time we saw something innovative coming out of Facebook when it does come to their social media platforms?
Nothing, honestly. Even though it's one owner behind Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Instagram, some features do boom, like Reels, like the stories.
But again, we talked about a couple of days ago, Reels is not doing as well as they expected.
As they thought. That's why they're introducing ads to try and monetize.
So again, ladies and gentlemen, that just goes to show that the predictor,
fortune teller.
The fortune teller of social media and technology. When I say something, I say it not based on my crystal ball, but an educated theory and hypothesis.
There you go.
It won't work. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Future Talk for today. Let us know your guys' thoughts. 4215 do it slots or on our Instagram at Pulse95 Radio. Do you think Facebook is gonna flop again, or will they win the Clubhouse race?
We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, only here on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of Future Talk, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse 95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.